In the magnificent desert kingdom of Mirajin, where white marble buildings gleam under golden sunlight and blue domes catch the morning breeze, lived a 16-year-old girl named Zara. Her voice was like liquid gold. Whenever she sang to her small garden behind their modest home, flowers would bloom instantly, their petals dancing to her melodies. The villagers often paused their daily routines just to listen to her morning songs that seemed to breathe life into everything around her. But Zara's gift was more than just beautiful music. Her songs carried the pure essence of love. Love for her community, for the struggling plants in the harsh desert, and for every living creature in their oasis kingdom. The marketplace merchants would smile broadly when her voice drifted through the air, children would laugh more freely, and even the camels would perk up their ears in delight. One scorching summer, disaster struck Mirajin. The rains failed completely, and a terrible drought began to strangle the life from their beloved kingdom. Day by day, the wells grew lower, their stone depths echoing with emptiness. The once lush oasis that had sustained their community for generations began to shrivel, its palm trees dropping brown leaves like tears onto the cracked earth. The villagers gathered in the town square, their faces etched with worry and desperation. Children clung to their mothers' robes, while the elders stroked their beards in deep concern. The harsh sun beat down mercilessly, and the very air seemed to shimmer with the kingdom's growing thirst. It was then that Elder Hassan, the wisest man in Mirajin, stepped forward with his weathered hands raised for silence. His voice, though aged, carried the weight of ancient knowledge. "My dear people," Elder Hassan began, his eyes scanning the desperate crowd, "there is an ancient legend, passed down through generations of our ancestors. Deep beneath the desert sands, in a hidden cave known only to the winds themselves, lie the 5 singing stones, mystical crystals that control the underground rivers flowing beneath our kingdom." The crowd leaned in, hanging on every word as he continued. These magical stones have been silent for centuries, waiting for someone with a pure heart and the gift of true song to awaken them. Only a voice filled with genuine love for all living things can make them sing again and release the waters that will save our land. As the elder spoke, all eyes turned to Zara. Her gift was known throughout the kingdom, but could she truly be the one to save them all? The weight of everyone's hope settled on her young shoulders like a heavy cloak. Without hesitation, Zara stepped forward from the crowd, her dark hair catching the sunlight like silk. "I will go," she declared, her voice steady despite the fear flickering in her eyes. "If there's even a chance that my voice can help our people, I must try." Her mother rushed forward, tears streaming down her face as she embraced her brave daughter. With trembling hands, she placed their family's protective amulet around Zara's neck, a small silver pendant that had been blessed by generations of their ancestors. "May the desert winds guide you safely, my beloved daughter," her mother whispered, her voice breaking with pride and terror. The entire village gathered at the kingdom's gates to bid farewell to their young hero, their hopes and prayers following her into the vast, unforgiving desert. Zara's journey across the endless sand dunes was grueling. The sun blazed overhead like a merciless eye, and the sand seemed to pull at her feet with every step. She rationed her water carefully, knowing that every drop was precious. At night, she would curl up under the spectacular canopy of desert stars, drawing strength from their ancient light. On the 3rd day, after battling through a terrifying sandstorm that nearly buried her alive, Zara discovered something extraordinary. Hidden among a cluster of unusual rock formations, partially concealed by centuries of shifting sand, was the entrance to an ancient cave. Strange symbols were carved into the stone, symbols that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. As she approached the cave mouth, a cool breeze flowed from within, carrying with it the faint sound of dripping water and something else, a barely audible humming, as if the very stones were whispering secrets to each other. Following the winding tunnel deeper into the earth, Zara's small torch cast dancing shadows on walls covered with ancient hieroglyphs. The air grew cooler and more humid with each step, and she could hear the growing sound of underground water somewhere in the darkness ahead. Finally, she emerged into a vast underground chamber that took her breath away. 5 enormous crystals, each as tall as a tree, stood in a perfect circle at the center of the cavern. They were currently dull and lifeless, but even in their dormant state, they radiated an ancient power that made the air itself seem to shimmer. As Zara approached the center of the circle, the crystals began to emit a faint, pulsing glow, responding to her presence. She could feel their potential, their longing to sing again after centuries of silence. But what song could possibly awaken such ancient magic? Standing in the center of the crystal circle, Zara closed her eyes and let her heart guide her voice. She didn't sing of grand adventures or mighty deeds. Instead, she sang of love, pure, simple, and true. She sang of Ahmed the baker, rising before dawn to knead bread for his neighbors. She sang of the children playing in the village square, their laughter echoing off the ancient walls. She sang of families gathered around dinner tables, sharing not just food but stories, hopes, and dreams. Her voice grew stronger and more radiant with each note, and the crystals responded in kind. One by one, they began to glow brighter, their light growing from a soft whisper to a brilliant symphony of color and sound. The very air around Zara sparkled with magical energy as her song reached its crescendo. Then, something miraculous happened. The crystals began to sing back, their deep, resonant voices harmonizing perfectly with Zara's melodic tones. The chamber filled with the most beautiful music ever heard, a song of love so pure and powerful that it awakened the ancient underground springs. Water began to flow through long dormant channels carved in the cave floor, glowing with the same magical light as the crystals. The underground river system, sleeping for centuries, roared back to life, carrying the enchanted water toward Mirajin at incredible speed. Back in the kingdom, the villagers watched in amazement as their wells suddenly overflowed with fresh, clear water. The dying oasis burst back to life, its palm trees turning green in mere moments. Flowers bloomed everywhere, and the air itself seemed to dance with joy. When Zara finally returned to her village, she was greeted not as a hero, but as family. Elder Hassan officially recognized her as the desert nightingale, but more importantly, she had learned that the greatest magic of all was the love that connected every living thing. From that day forward, Zara continued to sing in their restored kingdom, teaching the children that true power comes not from grand gestures, but from the simple, pure love we share with each other and the world around us. And whenever the desert winds blow just right, some say you can still hear the distant harmony of the 5 singing stones, keeping their eternal watch over the kingdom of Mirajin.